Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games Blog Saturday review.
Passions flamed and power waned. Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. First Catherine of Aragon, who had the most time to establish loyal supporters and powerful allies. Then Anne Boleyn, queen for less than a year. They were followed by Jane Seymour, Anne of Cleves, Catherine Howard and Catherine Parr. These were The Six of Eight by Carol LaGros from Newmill Industries. I love it when modern trick-taking games tie themselves to a historical background, and it doesn't get more dramatic and famous than a game that follows the reign of King Henry VIII, and more specifically his 6 wives. Yes, that's exactly what The Six of Eight is about, and it is very good at it. So expect plenty of intrigue, betrayal, short reigns followed by long periods of political influence, and a great many other Tudor scheming. As a mere peasant myself, I only played The Six of Eight with 4 players, where you play in pairs with your partner sitting opposite you, and only with the base setup. You can play the game with 3 people and or throw in some extra cards for some advanced variants. However, I felt the base game works extremely well, and there's enough excitement without having the Church of England and other cards in the mix. The Six of Eight integrates its historical setting in a number of ways. There are 6 suits of colours, representing Henry's 6 wives, some of which have fewer but still very powerful cards, emulating the relevant queen's length and strength of political influence. Their reigns are also replicated on a timeline that moves on one step with each trick played, and which decides what suit is trump, in other words, which lady is the current Queen of England. Playing in teams wonderfully imitates how the Tudor king and his regularly changing queen work together against enemies within and without. At the beginning of each hand, each player in a pair gives their partner 2 cards from the hand in exchange for 2 of the partners. It is as if you're passing secret messages to each other. You feel more like Thomas Cromwell than the king and queen. You want to appear to be a loyal servant, but secretly you impose your own influence and slowly steer the future in your own favor. In fact, because you play in pairs, it's as if there are 2 Cromwells scheming together. If you aren't familiar with trick-taking games, it's hard for me to explain how wonderfully exciting this asymmetric deck and trump distribution is. On the other hand, you will find it easier to adapt to the idea that trumps not only change from trick to trick, but that some suits are more precious than others. However, for me and my family, who've grown up with traditional trick-taking games, it took a few hands to understand how much we had to adapt our usual strategies before finally getting to grips with a game that cleverly emulates the constantly changing realms of influence at Henry VIII's court. Of course, at its core, The Six of Eight is a true trick-taking game. Their suits, trumps, tricks, a lead player, having to follow the lead suit color and everything else. That makes it very easy to explain the game. You just have to focus on the differences from whatever traditional trick-taking game your audience is used to. Mostly, that will be the suit that changes from trick to trick, following a predetermined timeline. It will also be the fact that not every suit has the same number of cards. That's about it. After that, it's a matter of starting to play and allowing everyone to learn the best strategy for themselves. It certainly won't take long for the Six of Eight to click, even though it will take a while for people to formulate viable strategies. At the same time, many concepts, such as clearing a hand of a suit or 2 to allow you to help your partner, that work in traditional trick-taking games work here as well. In fact, what card you play when can give your partner a clue about what your plans are. Just like saying the right word at the right time in Henry's court, or outside of it, can suggest to your allies what scheme you're pursuing. The Six of Eight really is a deceivingly clever game that will immediately appeal to lovers of trick-taking games. Just like the 6 wives, one after the other, immediately appealed to Henry VIII. Yet, unlike the unfortunate women, this game will stay in your favour for a very long time indeed. It certainly reigns my world of card games. So if you fancy a game while watching Wolf Hall, you can't go wrong with choosing the 6 of 8.
Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog's Saturday Review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon.
This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my supporters. Royal Patron Sean Newman, Magic Champion John Risley, Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor, Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay, and Shining Lights Jacob Davis, Gavin Jones, Sarah Reed and Richard Simpson.